big or small. 48 millimeter burrs, 38 millimeter burrs. Heavy and light. With a handle that folds down, no handle that folds down. One that will fit inside an AeroPress and one that will not. That's what we're going to talk about today. The 1Zpresso JX Pro, arguably the most popular, most successful hand grinder on the market, and this little guy here, the Chestnut Nano by Timemore, which I consider more of an all-arounder. So what we're going to do today is just take a look at both of these grinders, at their characteristics and at their ergonomics, their partner acceptance factor, and do some grinding and see how each of these grinders fares. So let's go ahead and start with the 1Zpresso or 1Zpresso. Now this is an interesting grinder for numerous reasons. Because it's so popular, there's a lot of information out there on the internet about it. So that's one good thing. It feels really nice in the hands. It's nice machined aluminum, and yeah, it feels premium. It's got a pretty large grounds catcher here, and it can hold 35 grams of beans. Probably the most important thing about this grinder is because it's got the larger diameter burrs and because it's got a really nice range of adjustment, this grinder can grind very nicely for espresso. So it's got this silicone band on there to help you hold it while you're grinding, and it's got a knob here made out of wood, which does not come off, by the way, and this part here is made out of plastic. One nice thing about this grinder is you can take a power tool and stick it here on top, and you can grind that way as well, so that's pretty convenient to do. So that's just the initial impression of the 1Zpresso. Let's take a look at the Chestnut Nano now. Now this is much smaller, much more diminutive. When you pick this up, it feels just very portable. It does still feel pretty premium. It's got nice knurled metal. It's made out of aluminum, just as the 1Zpresso, whereas this part here, the handle is made out of aluminum, and I do like very much that it folds down. That makes it much smaller. This handle, by the way, comes off with a magnet, which is kind of a novelty. It's kind of cool, but there's a disadvantage to that. The thing sometimes flies off when you're grinding, and that's kind of annoying. Yeah, so those are the initial impressions of this guy. Now, let's just get right on into the specifications of each. The 1Zpresso can hold 35 grams of beans, whereas the Chestnut Nano only holds about 15 to 16 grams of beans. The 1Zpresso, and this is probably the biggest difference, has got a much more grinding range. Each click on the 1Zpresso is just 12.5 microns, while each click on here is 83.3 microns. I took the spindle out of here and I measured out the thread pitch, and it is 1 millimeter per turn. And since there are 12 clicks here, within one turn, if you divide 1 millimeter by 12, you get 83.3 microns. So what that means is that the 1Zpresso is about 6 times finer in resolution. So that is the huge advantage for the 1Zpresso, especially when you want to dial in some espresso. The 1Zpresso weighs 807 grams, while the Chestnut Nano weighs only 368 grams. The 1Zpresso it's pretty big. The 1Zpresso is 58 millimeters in diameter, whereas the Chestnut Nano is only 45 millimeters in diameter. And I'm going to come back to that in just a little bit when it comes to the wife acceptance factor. Let's talk about one common weakness both grinders have, and which I do find annoying. Both of them in their grinds catcher end up having static getting caught down in there, and a fair amount of grounds get caught both in this one as well as in the 1Zpresso. So what I oftentimes have to do is go in there with my WD-T needles and just scrape around in there and tap it out. And it takes me quite a while to get all of the grounds out of here. But that's something that both of these suffer from. Let's talk about ergonomics and wife acceptance factor here. So for me, the 1Zpresso is nice to use. It's easy to handle. The weight, it feels nicely weighted, nicely balanced in my hand. Turning the crank is pretty easy, and I like that the knob doesn't fly off. What does annoy me a bit is that while I'm grinding with this, the grounds catcher through the vibration starts to actually kind of come off, and so I have to stop in between and tighten that up. That's a little annoying. But otherwise, I do like using it. The grinding setting is very easy. That's all you have to do is adjust it here from the top. Whereas the Chestnut Nano, you have to adjust it in a different way, which I will show you. So I do like using the 1Zpresso, but I would not say that it is super easy to crank with this, and certainly not for people with small hands. I don't have the biggest man hands, but I've got at least medium to large size hands. My wife, on the other hand, she's pretty strong, but she's got smaller hands, and she really has a hard time gripping this thing and turning it. She tried to kind of wedge it into her body like this. It's really not comfortable for her to use. On the other hand, this one here, it's very easy to grip. I mean, just about anybody can grip this. I think even a child can get their fingers around. So that's pretty convenient, and including the knurling, it's easy to grip from an ergonomic standpoint, and it's easy to turn. Now, as I mentioned, the one disadvantage is oftentimes this knob will fly off or come off in your hands, and that's a little bit annoying. But I would say for ergonomics, they are, for me, both pretty similar, but in regards to the wife acceptance factor, I know that my wife would choose this one because it's easier to handle. And also, for those of you who are traveling, this one is much smaller, much lighter. You can toss this just about anywhere. You can even fit it in your pocket. So this one has got that going for it. Well, I would say what we're going to do next is just grind 15 grams of beans in each and see which one is faster, the 48mm burrs or the 38mm burrs. And I've got them both dialed in for espresso, so let's just have a look. 15.0, here we go. These are on the lighter side of medium, by the way, so that does make it kind of hard to crank. Okay, about 38 seconds. And now for the Nano. One thing I wanted to mention is actually, if you can look in there, I've got quite a bit more space left in there because these are such a light roast, they're more dense, and so you can fit actually more beans in here for lighter roasts. I could probably fit another 5 grams in there pretty easily. So here we go with the Chestnut Nano. Okay, I would call that 1 minute and 10 seconds. So this did take an extra 30 seconds. It took quite a bit longer, but it was easier. Considering that the burrs are much smaller, it's easier to turn this one, even for me, than it is to turn this one. One other thing I should mention, this used to take me even longer. It took almost 2 minutes to grind, and then I realized through a commenter here on YouTube that my burrs were not aligned properly. In fact, the inner burr was loose, and so I made a video on how to shim that up. And since doing that, I've got, I think, more consistent grinds as well as a faster grinding time. So thank you to you guys for your tips. Now let's just have a look and see what the grind consistency looks like. Okay, as far as I can tell, they both look very, very fine and very consistent on the left with the 1Zpresso and here on the right with the Chestnut Nano. You guys tell me, what do you think, which looks more consistent to you, the 1Zpresso or the Timemore Nano? Alright, so in the end, which one of these do I think is better for you? Well, certainly I would go for the 1Zpresso for just a little bit more money if you're into espresso, because you got a much wider range for dialing in on the 1Zpresso. Only 12.5 microns per click is awesome. It grinds faster with those bigger 48mm burrs, and it's pretty much quality. On the other hand, if you're looking for more of an all-arounder that can go from espresso to other brew methods, and you want something portable, and you're not that concerned about just dialing in perfect, then I would suggest the Timemore Nano. I'll include links for both of these in the description box down below so you can check them out yourself. Now all that's left is for me to make a coffee. So thank you for watching, thank you for all your likes, and if you do like this video, check out my other ones on the channel, and if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, it's totally free. Till next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.